PFF is running one of their biggest sales ever. 40% off a PFF Plus subscription right now using the promo code BLACKFRIDAY. That means that you get everything fully unlocked. You get the grades, you get the stats, you get all the fantasy advice, the betting advice, which our new player prop tool is available on web as well to make you a smarter, better. You've got all of the draft analysis, the free agency analysis, all of that great stuff. Subscribe.pff.com to get 40% off a year-long PFF Plus subscription. Get it now. The San Francisco 49ers went into Cleveland, beat the Cleveland Browns 26-8. The final score there, top 5 graded players that we have for San Francisco in this game. Linebacker D winners at the top of the list with a 79.6. Safety Malik Mustafa with a 78.5. Tight end George Kittle a 77.7. Wide receiver Juwan Jennings with a 72.7. And then cornerback Diamador Lenore with a 71.0. Quarterback Brock Purdy in this game a 74.5. On Cleveland's side, their top-graded player was offensive guard Wyatt Teller with an 83.9. Offensive guard Joel Bitonio with an 81.6. Safety Grant Delpit at an 81.0. Ethan Posick with an 80.3. And then edge rusher Myles Garrett. Knew we had to get him in the top 5 somewhere. 78.6 overall grade. Shadur Sanders in this one, a 56.1 overall grade. Dalton stat that told the story.
To me, this game was won and lost on 3rd and 4th down. You look at the 49ers, 11 for 17 on 3rd down. Just outstanding. 0.693 EPA per play. Really, really efficient in English there. 81.5 offensive grade. Brock Purdy, an 84.5 passing grade on 3rd and 4th down. You look at it the other way for Cleveland. Combined on 3rd and 4th down, 3 for 15 with 1.5 yards per play and a 41 offensive grade. Shadur Sanders with a 48.5 passing grade. And not only that, when you look at just the crucial plays that happened, especially on 4th down in this game, whether they had the ball or not. Sky Moore with a big punt return that led to a 49er touchdown.
Sky Moore, yeah.
Harold Fannin going under center, trying to run a tush push there, as so many teams are doing with their tight ends. Fumbles the snap.
Yeah.
Goes the other way. In Browns territory, leads to a Niner touchdown. And then Gage Larvidan with a muff punt that also led to a touchdown for San Francisco. Think about that. Three big fourth down mistakes led directly to 3 San Francisco touchdowns. That's really the difference in this game. I think when you look at early down performance in this game, relatively even, maybe leaning a little bit towards the Niners, but the 49ers on both sides of the ball won this game on 3rd and 4th down in big situations. That's the difference between a good team and a bad team.
Yep, and to be honest with you, Brock Purdy in this game, no turnover-worthy plays. To me, that's always the biggest thing for Brock Purdy is I don't need 2 to 3 big-time throws in a game. I feel like they're talented enough with the players around them, the wide receivers, the tight ends, the running backs, obviously. Like, they can get it done without that. But Brock, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about this, putting the ball in harm's way too much. And that was a big issue for him, and I think that's been something that he's sort of been just hot and cold with because it's kind of his mentality as a quarterback. He's sort of a gunslinger type of a player. He's not afraid to pass the ball deep down the field, and coaches love that, and I'm not trying to take anything away from him there, but the fact that he had 0 turnover-worthy plays, it's a recipe for the Niners to score in the high 20s, low 30s, whatever that is, and obviously they did that again this week, scoring 26, well, mid-20s with 26 there. Stats that told the story for me. Shadur Sanders' pressure to sack ratio. I don't mean to keep bringing this up, but to me, until it improves and until the time to throw improves, I just don't think that this offense is going to have enough to be able to move the football well enough to win football games. Time to throw this game, 3.53. And when he was pressured, it went up to a 4.5. I mean, he hangs on to the ball for a long time. 33.8 passing grade under pressure in this game, and the pressure to sack ratio is a big reason why. You guys can see that in premium stats if you have a PFF Plus subscription. You can go over and check out this game like we did initially. You go to the Browns, click the Browns on the premium stats page. You can go over to offense or passing, either one, to be honest with you, and I believe it's going to show you that pressure to sack ratio that he has there. That would be, right side of the screen. You could see at the bottom, that's the total, that he has a 30.0 pressure to sack ratio. And it's just been an issue for Sanders, even going back to his time at Colorado. I don't know if it's just He kind of thinks he's more athletic than he is, but I felt like he could get away with a good amount of stuff when he was in college. But at the NFL game, it's just so much faster. Now, I'm not saying that it was all bad for Sanders, because there were a handful of plays in this game where I felt like he did navigate the pocket a little bit better, where he was a little improving a little bit on his pocket awareness, his pocket movement, his pocket presence, when to get the ball out of his hands. But there were also too many times where he is hanging on to the ball too long. There was that play where I can't remember exactly where the ball was when it was snapped, but Sanders gets the ball and he's basically, his back's against the end zone, and he walks into his own end zone, pressure's coming up to him, and there is purposefully a drag route over the middle of the, like right past the offensive line, that it's like, that is your hot. Like, that's your, like, if you don't see whatever your first progression read is, you got to know that they're coming after you. Your back is against the wall in the end zone. They're trying to get a safety against you. So if your first read is not open within the first second of when you have the football in your hand, you have to look to this drag route. You have to be able to check the ball down. And the drag route was coming open if he would have looked in that direction a little bit sooner, but instead he hangs onto the ball and it's almost a safety where he's getting tackled into the end zone. That, I don't believe that was a safety. Was it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there wasn't a safety in this game.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. It was kind of a close, like a bang play, but I didn't think that it was a safety. But we weren't watching the broadcast at that point. I was watching the game film. So it's those plays where you need more awareness from him. He has to be able to get the ball out of his hands quicker. We've said this before, sort of jokingly. If you take the best of Dillon Gabriel and the best of Shadur Sanders and put them into one quarterback, you probably have somebody who runs a very, very efficient offense. Like somebody who can really win you some football games, especially with that defense behind you. The hope, in my opinion, and the reason why I had Shadur ranked ahead of Dillon Gabriel when it came to my quarterback rankings is Shadur at least gives you the ceiling, in my opinion. You're hoping that you can just elevate the floor for him. So the more games that he plays, the more reps that he gets, you're hoping that he becomes more comfortable, that he continues to manage the pocket better, that the ball gets out of his hands a little bit sooner like it does for Gabriel. And if you do that, then you still have a decently high ceiling with a player like Sanders who is willing to look deep downfield, who is willing to layer things in between zone coverages, whether it's the cornerbacks and the safeties, the linebackers and the safeties, be able to attack a lot of different areas of the field. But until that gets better, that's going to be the story of the Cleveland Browns on offense. He's just not seeing things quick enough. He's holding on to the ball too long. He's taking too many sacks, and he's just not getting to those easier throws quick enough. So that, to me, is continuing to be the stat that told the story here for the Browns.
Correct. And for your way too high ratio representation of that, okay, so he's been under pressure 32 times this year, 32 different dropbacks. Mm-hmm. We've held him at least partially responsible for being pressured 12 out of those 32 times, which is a lot. You're almost 40%. You're talking about in that range of him being essentially us saying, hey, you either held the ball too long or you stepped up into pressure somewhere, right? It is the biggest problem right now, because even in this game, I think it was a 76 passing grade I saw in a clean pocket. When he is clean and he can see it, and the Browns had their best pass protecting day of the year in this one, he's solid. But he's got to not mess around so much late in the play. And that's really the big problem is you have, like you mentioned, Dillon Gabriel, who's a rhythm passer who needs to get rid of the ball right now, or there's really nothing past it, or Shadur, who you get all of this high variance with.
And the pass, and look, I won't sit here and act like he's throwing to all-stars. Like, Jerry Jeudy has been incredibly disappointing basically the entire time that he's been in Cleveland, certainly this year. Charles Tillman has not, or Cedric Tillman has not evolved into the player that I thought that he could be. I still think he's a talented player. It's just he's not involved in this offense as much as I thought he was going to be. Harold Fannin Jr. obviously is a nice piece for them. David Njoku is as well, but how much are you able to really get the tight ends involved when you don't have the receivers as complementary pieces for you, and the defense can really key in on those guys in the middle of the field? I love the run game. The 1-2 combination of Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins I think is something that you could build around for the future, but it's not all there yet. But even independent of that, like, Shadur has to continue. I'd give him the whole rest of the season, right? Like, there's no, in my opinion, there's no real reason to go back to Dillon Gabriel. You got a handful of games out of Gabriel. He kind of showed you, again, a lot of what you figured that he was going to be in the NFL. And that sounds a little harsh to me, because I want to give Shadur more time, and people who would like Gabriel would be like, hold on, now, so you're not giving Gabriel any more time? It does sound harsh, but this is also somebody who I believe that Shadur had a higher ceiling than Gabriel. So I'd give him the rest of the season. Because the important part is you're probably going to be picking top 5 again. You got to know whether or not you want to draft a quarterback. And that's a question that you have to answer before you go into any other or your offseason strategies. Speaking of rookies, Carson Schwessinger, great in this game. His speed is phenomenal. 86.3 run defense grade, 10 total tackles, which led the team. He is all over the place, man. Love how he's able to defend the run early on, because that was an issue that I had with him when he was at UCLA. I was like, man, he's fast, but he's light. He's going to be able to defend the run the way that I want him to in the NFL, and I think he's showing that he absolutely can. So shouting out Carson Schwessinger there. You're most impressive and disappointing before we move on.
Most impressive, D. Winters. Hardest job in football, taking over as a leader of this defense. With Fred Warner. Without Fred Warner. And Tatum Bethune was out for this game as well. So he's playing alongside Curtis Robinson there on defense. Highest graded player for the 49ers in this game. 6 tackles, 2 stops. Really good in coverage. He's always been really good in coverage, and that's really the advantage. He's kind of been that natural replacement to Dre Greenlaw. And just in general, man, the San Francisco 49ers to that team. Trev, they're 9-4. I keep telling look, I'll keep saying it because I'm going to stay in the boat. Mike Vrabel's been outstanding with the Patriots. Ben Johnson's in the Coach of the Year mix. Maybe Liam Cohen if they find a way to win that division. But I'm telling you right now, this 49er team makes the playoffs with all the injuries and everything they've gone through this year. Kyle Shanahan's my Coach of the Year. And he's 9-4 right now.
You said that like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That he should be in the conversation. You kind of like soft launched it. And I was like, I don't know. Now I agree with you.
And they're sitting there. They're going into a bye this week. This is the last bye weeks that we have coming up.
Who's the favorite? Is Vrabel the favorite?
I'm not sure. It's probably. I haven't looked at the betting odds, but I'm sure. I would think that 1-2 are probably Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson. Those are probably the 2 right now.
Yeah.
But look, the 49ers, you got the loss from the Rams. Only going into their bye week, only a half game behind the other 2 teams in the West. We keep talking like, the Rams are the best team and Seattle's right there. San Fran's 9-4, sitting right behind those teams going down the stretch here. The job Kyle Shanahan is doing this year is as good as anybody in football. Continuing to work through the injuries on defense. And then, the games, think about the games they won with Mac Jones, without George Kittle, without Brandon Ayuk isn't going to play a snap for them this year, apparently. Yeah. All these things they've gone through, and they're 9-4.
Yeah.
And in prime position to make the playoffs and still compete for a really tough division.
Yep. It is. It's very, very impressive. I remember, I don't think it was this offseason. I think it was the one before. How we write a lot of ranking lists when it comes to the offseason over at PFF.com. I wrote the coach rankings list, and I had Kyle Shanahan at like 3 or 4. I can't remember exactly where I had him. That was the number one response I felt like I got from that article, is people being like, how is Shanahan that high? Like, it's a joke that he's that high. What's Shanahan done? There are very clearly way too many people out there who still hold the 2016 Super Bowl. Was it 2016?
Yes.
I think there's way too many people that hold the 2016 Super Bowl and then him losing the Super Bowl to Mahomes against Kyle Shanahan. And it's like, you gotta be able to look past those 2 things.
Yeah.
He is one of the best coaches of the last 2 decades.
Yes.
He is.
He just hasn't won a trophy yet.
He just has not won a trophy yet.
Top 3 right now in Coach of the Year odds. Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald. Mike Vrabel -200, Coach of the Year.
Whoa.
Man.
I guess they're just going to give it to him.
They were the 4th worst team in football.
No, and
I do get it.
That was way. Hold on. Wait. That was way too negative of me. The way that came out of my mouth. That is not the way that I want that to be explained. Vrabel is very well deserving.
Oh, sure. I'm not going to say any of those guys aren't. Sure.
They're not really considering a lot of these.
Vrabel
-200 is like you're not even considering these other guys.
That's with 5 weeks to go, right? Vrabel, you got a bunch of guys. This is one of the best Coach of the Year races we've had, with the NFL basically turned upside down right now. But Vrabel, Ben Johnson, Mike McDonald, Kyle Shanahan. I know the Niners always have high expectations, but he should be in that mix absolutely for what the Niners have had to go through this year.